I think was indeed something that we should put to the credit of the European institutions. European Commission, European Central Bank, European Council, working with governments. It is not self-evident to have, for instance, as we had, by the way, during the French presidency, the meeting, the first heads of summit, the summit of heads of government of the euro area, by the way, inviting the British Prime Minister to the euro area first ever summit. This shows the creativity of the European Union, the flexibility of our institution. But that was done. So this is indeed a huge effort. And I want to make this point clear because sometimes I think that the perception was that the European Union did not act enough. I mean, considering the fact that we are 27 countries in so many different situations, a country like Germany, and at the same time a country like Latvia, and that we had to coordinate, well, I consider that that deserves at least some credit. Now, are you concerned, that was your question about it? Of course, this is completely unprecedented. That's why I made it also clear, and we are making that effort, that we have to keep the level playing field. That we are now preparing precisely the exit strategy and also the restructuring of the banks. Because that raises, of course, some important problems of equity and problems of competition in the internal market. And that's exactly what we are doing. But not in terms of any kind of ideological concern because it's too much state intervention. I personally believe that the problem state versus market is not the real problem. The real problem is to find in each case the right solution and not to be. There are two gods I think we should not serve. The state as God or the market as God. This we should not serve. We have to see as well. The institute is the society. What is the best way to respond? So it's not ideological concern about the amount of money. Yeah? My concern, our concern is public debt. This is a serious concern for the future in terms of sustainability of our system. This is, of course, an important concern, and we have to look at it from one point, and we have to look also at the problems of competition that may come in the European level. And this allows me already to go to your question directly. Because when we speak about protections, there are the two dimensions, internal and external protections. To be very frank with you, and I cannot avoid being frank in an academic setting, there were some moments where there was huge pressures for do it alone and national solutions, and including protectionist tendencies during this crisis. I personally believe that we have resisted this lot. And there were good discussions at the highest level in the European Union about what are we going to do. Because as you know, the trend of any national politician is to think that he has the right to make his state aid, but he does not like the state aid made by the neighbor. So it was possible through a frank exchange of views to avoid fragmentation of the internal market. But those trends existed, and they are still there, of course. I think it would be a mistake, a complete self-defeating way if we give up to these things. Our strength is internal market, and we have to keep the internal market as a driver for growth and for employment precisely in the future. Another thing is what we have to do globally. Globally, you know better than me, you are professional economists, but if you compare the response so far, global, to the response in the 30s, I think we have learned something from the crisis in the 30s. Even if there are some, let's say, sometimes risky tendencies and trends, the director general of WTO, Pascal Ami, has given us recently in Luxembourg, the last G8 summit, some elements. The fact is that there was not a return to overall protection. So basically, the world international order resisted, let's say, full-fledged return to economic nationalism and protection. And I think that was partly, if not the main result of the G20 process. The European Commission and the European Union, we were at the origin. We asked the American president to organize the first summit in the Washington, the second one in London, and now we are preparing the third one these next months in Pittsburgh, in the United States. And I know that usually people are cynical and skeptical about those what's these summits for, but I personally believe that those summits have at least a contribution to avoid what could be a real protectionist drive. What we have not yet achieved, and I'm very happy that nobody blames the European Union for that, is the Doha trade talks. And that's why I think we should keep this commitment. We have now, in the last G8 plus meeting, agreed to have a target date for 2010, and that's important. We are working with our main partners in the United States and America, but also India and others, to try to see if it's possible to conclude by 2010. And in fact, we should have done it before the Doha trade talks. Doha trade and development talks, because these are for development world too. So the Commission will remain at the forefront, resisting any kind of internal protectionism or external protection for the reasons I've told you before. The third question, in fact the second in order, was about the euro. I think the euro has behaved very well. I think the credibility of the euro is not a problem. And I don't see anyone opting out. I see a lot opting in. I think the countries, even countries that before had some doubts about the euro, are now considering joining the euro, or at least the discussion is there. And in Denmark is the most recent case. But the new member states, just today I received the President of Lithuania, by the way, my former member of the Commission, and we were discussing in Brussels what are the prospects for Lithuania joining the euro. There is a new interest in the Central and Eastern European countries about it, so I don't see really a problem with the euro in terms of credibility. Of course, we know well the problems of some of our member states, some in the euro area, some outside the euro area. Those outside the euro area, we have been working with IMF. We have, as you know, emergency programs, let's call it the balance of payments programs. Then, once again, to give a figure, 50 billion euros were put at disposal, 50 billion euros for balance of payments support. I think it's an important figure as well. And we are working. So far, I think we have avoided a major crisis there. So I'm confident about the future of the euro. And as you know, the Commission has been working very closely with the European Central Bank. And I trust that they will take the right decisions in monetary terms.
President Barroso, we have to stop there. I wanted to thank you so much, not only for the thoughtful and inspiring lecture which I referred to before, but also for the very constructive and careful and comprehensive way in which you dealt with our questions and shared your ideas with us. So I'll ask you once again to thank President Barroso, and also to stay in your seats after you have thanked President Barroso, because we have the FEM Awards and then we have the Schumpeter Lecture, and we just have to spend a few moments with our friends as they leave. So thank you very much indeed, President Barroso.